Well, Teen, hopefully our audience must have realized one day we would bring the Alabama shirts out.
Yes, we've been saving them, haven't we?
Yeah, roll tide. We had a wonderful time in Alabama, and it ties into what we want to talk to you about today. When we retired, the very first priority was travel.
Oh, yes,
And
it was.
we have done some really neat trips. So we want to tell you what our most enjoyable trips have been in retirement.
Yeah.
We went on them when we were 60 and, well, I was 60,
Yeah.
you're 58.
Yes, that's when we started, wasn't it? So
So,
we were young and fit.
and we were eager to get out there and see the world.
Yes, we were.
So the first, these are in no particular order,
No.
but they're trips that we felt so fortunate to take, and we highly recommend each one. So, what are we going to start with, Tin?
Oh, has to be Australia and New Zealand.
Good day.
Ooh, just love this. We actually did a cruise from New Zealand to Australia, didn't we?
We did, and we put ourselves at great inconvenience and got on that 23-hour flight.
It was a long one, wasn't
It
it?
was.
Wow.
Mind you, a few cocktails, and it seemed to go a lot quicker.
Yes, it did. Now,
So what we did is we got into Auckland, and we had 2 or 3 days before the cruise, so we were able to explore Auckland, which is just a beautiful city.
yes.
And so we went up the tower there and saw the whole landscape, and we had a wonderful time.
Yes, we did, didn't we?
Got on the cruise ship,
Yeah.
and we basically went around, I guess, the
The
southern.
south side, yeah.
So we went from the main island right down to the other island, and just wonderful. And we also got into Milford Sound and went through all those different sounds that they go through.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. And then we ended up in
Australia.
Sydney.
Oh, yes. But Norm, we forgot the bit of the rolling waves of getting there. Holy smoke. And Norm was actually filming it as well, and it was going up and
That
down.
was the Tasman Sea, and it was quite the experience. If
Yeah.
motion sickness is your thing, then don't take that trip.
No, don't. We are so glad we did it, but it was rougher than we thought, wasn't
So
it?
we did a
Yeah.
series of cruises,
Yes.
and we were really enjoying them because I do a lot of photography and B-roll stock clips. That's why I was filming the sea in slow motion. Cruises are a great way to see multiple locations, and you only unpack once, so it's very convenient. Alaska,
Oh,
the Inside Passage from Vancouver, going to Ketchikan and Juneau and all those good places.
just stunning,
A
wasn't it?
cruise like no other. I know it's very
Oh,
popular and
yeah.
it's not that expensive, but actually sailing in the Inside Passage and in quite a medium-sized cruise ship, it was
Yeah.
almost like being on a river cruise because it
It
was so
was
calm.
very still, beautiful scenery.
Never far from
No.
the shore, so always something to see.
Yeah,
The sun
wildlife.
basically
Yep.
doesn't set, and we went up there in the summertime.
Yeah, and we saw whales and dolphins, and it was just beautiful, wasn't it? We
It
loved
was.
that.
So an Alaska cruise, the Inside Passage, and if you want to make it more complete, then maybe do a back-to-back Alaska, so you can go higher up into
Yeah.
Alaska. We
We
only
just
went
went up and back down, didn't we?
in a
Yeah.
week, basically. But if we were doing it again, we'd do the 2 weeks.
I think talking about cruises, Norm, that has to lead us into a European river cruise.
Yeah.
This, I have to say, was probably one of my favorites. Oh, just absolutely loved it. Not only did we do the river cruise, we actually had 2 or 3 days stay at either end. So we started
Mm-hmm.
off in Budapest, was absolutely beautiful. Then we had the river cruise that went through Vienna and lots of other places. And then we ended up in Prague. Now,
Yeah.
not on the boat. We
No.
actually had to take a coach from the cruise to Prague.
You end at
Yeah.
Nuremberg. You get to see that,
It was
and then
beautiful,
they
wasn't
put
it?
you on a motor coach and
Yeah.
take you into Prague, which is stunning. Our preference was we like Budapest or
Yes.
Budapest uh, better than Prague because it wasn't as busy
No, not as
and
touristy, was it?
and the food was
No.
amazing in Hungary. We went to one restaurant, the oldest restaurant in Budapest, and they're still serving the same meals.
It was, we had like goulash, didn't we? Like goulash soup in a big bowl. It was wonderful.
Absolutely.
But I think one of the huge pluses is on these river cruises is you're just sailing along at the same level as the land.
Just
There's
gliding.
always something to see. It was stunning. We
And
loved
there wasn't
it.
that many people on
No.
on the boat. So,
No, it was quite small, wasn't it?
It
So we
was.
would highly recommend that.
yeah, and get a balcony
Yes.
and patio doors, then you can lie in bed and watch the world go by. It's quite wonderful. So we're in Europe.
Yes.
That means you need a Mediterranean cruise.
Ooh, we really enjoyed that, didn't we?
We did. And there's so much to see in the Mediterranean. It's like the Caribbean in some respects. They do Eastern and Western. So we have done Western.
Yeah, we've actually done a couple of cruises because not only did we cruise around the Mediterranean, we actually started off some of our transatlantic ones coming back from there too, didn't we?
We did.
So they were all highly enjoyable.
So
weren't
the
they?
Mediterranean, we would say, go and see Rome.
Yeah.
That was just
Oh,
mind
yes.
blowing.
Yeah.
It really was. And Genoa, that was really neat.
That was a great trip.
Mediterranean cruise.
Ooh, so we're still over there in Europe, eh, Norm?
hmm
So we have had a couple of really special trips that we've taken from here. One of them has to be Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Oh, that was gorgeous. And in actual fact, we had a brief stop in Iceland on the way to Edinburgh, didn't we?
Because we got a cheap flight.
Yeah. So it briefly stopped in Iceland and then we went to Edinburgh.
It just stopped in
Yeah.
Iceland long enough for us to pay nearly $20 for a cup of coffee.
Oh, and a sandwich,
And a
wasn't it?
sandwich, yeah.
Oh, my goodness, it was so expensive. But we loved Edinburgh. It was wonderful. We actually got a deal that included the flight and staying in an apart hotel,
Yeah.
which was, we loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
Right on the high street, wasn't it?
Royal Mile.
Yeah, it was beautiful. That was a wonderful trip.
And it
Yeah.
gave me a chance to see where I was born, which was even a biggest bonus. So that same airline that took us there, we also went with them to Iceland, to their home base. They're not in service anymore. That was WOW. Do you remember WOW Airlines?
Oh, yes.
The purple
yeah,
planes?
Yeah.
Well, we went to Iceland and we were there for 5 days, I think.
Yeah, 5 days, I think.
So we would highly, highly recommend you doing that. The one thing we didn't do, we didn't rent a car, and we should have done.
Yes, we should have done, didn't we? We did do a couple of excursions, didn't we, on the bus?
And they were very good. You can
Yeah.
buy those readily once you're there. The Golden Horseshoe, was it?
Oh, yeah, the falls, wasn't it? That was a great trip. But
It
we
was.
think now, in hindsight, we could have been a bit more creative if we'd have driven ourselves, didn't we?
And we would have
Yeah.
done 2 weeks as well,
Yeah.
because there's just so much to see. And base
Yeah, we
yourselves in Reykjavik.
Yeah, we weren't there long enough, were we?
No, we weren't.
So we learnt, go for a longer trip next time.
Now, no surprises to our loyal viewers, Portugal.
Oh, yes.
We have enjoyed winters in Portugal because the weather is just good.
So nice, isn't it? You leave the snow behind in Canada, and it's normally at the time we go around between 16 to 20 degrees.
Yeah.
Just beautiful blue skies, nice beaches to walk on. And we've been there maybe 3 or 4 times to the Algarve.
Yeah.
Plus, we've done other parts in Portugal
Yeah,
too,
Lisbon,
haven't we?
Porto.
Yeah, and we've had some great trips there.
But the food is exceptional.
Yeah.
I know Portugal isn't one of those cuisines that you say, oh, Portuguese cuisine.
Yeah.
But the food is so fresh, so delicious, that you must go and experience it because it's nothing at all like Spain.
No.
Now we do have a
What
bit
else
of
we
a
have?
bucket list.
Oh, yes, we do.
There are a couple of things that we really want to do, and that's train trips.
Yes.
We're a sucker for punishment. We did that 26-hour bus trip. Well,
and I think if we can survive that, no, we could survive a train trip.
So we want to do Toronto to Vancouver through the Rockies on via rail.
Yes. And we would also consider doing Toronto to Halifax too. That's another really nice train trip.
It's a shorter one,
Yeah.
but and it gets you right downtown. But the beauty about train trips is they built the stations right downtown in the major cities. So in Vancouver, you get off right there.
Yeah.
Same in Halifax, and there's a hotel in the station, which is one of the old railway hotels. So we would love to do that.
And I think another thing still on the trains, Norm, is we would like to do one of the Amtrak train trips in the US.
There's an absolute classic called the Zephyr, and it goes from San Francisco to Chicago, right across the Midwest.
Looks amazing, doesn't it? We actually met somebody who'd done that trip, and he suggested we took it, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Get a sleeper cabin, and that will include your meals as well if you do that. And he told us they're always having sales, so keep an eye out for that. And maybe you'll see us on the Zephyr.
Wouldn't that be nice, eh?
Zipping through the Midwest. We just think that rail travel is such an interesting thing to do. And our friend in the apartment building, she found a trip in Mexico as well.
Oh, yes.
And we're maybe planning on doing that with them.
Yes.
Maybe next year.
Yes. That would be quite exciting.
That was a canyon trip.
Yeah, and that was actually with a tour company, wasn't it? That would include the train trip and like getting us there and the hotels and everything, a sort of all included trip.
I think they pick us up from the apartment, and they also include the travel insurance, medical insurance as well.
That's another good plus.
So when you factor all that in, and the flights and what have you, it's a pretty good deal. That's Senior Discovery Tours.
Yeah, they go to lots of nice places, don't they?
So anyway, that's some of the trips we've taken that have blown us away, and we highly recommend them. And then there's a few on our wish list that we're hoping to do fairly soon. So we hope everybody is staying. I can't even say. Hope everybody is keeping well
and staying safe.
And until the next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.